Hey guys, you're with you, Janie Den, and first off, I would really appreciate it if you would go over and have a look at a video that I'm going to post in the comments for this video. It's about something that I find really, really difficult to talk about and to share, and yet that I feel is so extremely important to talk about and share. So it would really mean a lot to me if you would go over and have a look and comment below it. And if you're not comfortable doing that, I always have the links for all of the other places that you can find me below every single video. I would encourage you to seek me out and share your thoughts, feelings, and experiences that way as well. But today I want to talk a little bit about something that I find really bizarre, and it's been on my mind a lot because in the past couple of weeks I've been talking a lot about food and different food issues, and there's so much more to talk about, but this is the one thing that always, echoes in my head, that I think that we all understand what addiction is through the way that we consume food. And that might seem a little bit odd because, we've got to consume food to sustain ourselves. It's one of the necessities, and yet the way that we consume food is so comparable to a really, hardcore addiction to me, and yet we don't wage the same sort of war on food that we war on drugs. And I don't know if you know who Gabor Mate is, or if you've heard him speak at all. If you haven't, go and seek him out on their various YouTube videos. You can hear him talk in interviews, and he's got a really good book called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts as well, and it's about addiction. He's a doctor out of the Portland, and it's a center for people who have really hardcore addictions. And so he has a really unique insight into addiction that is really, really cool to get exposed to. But one of the things that I heard him say once was that you can't wage a war on drugs. And that it's always resonated with me because I think it's absolutely true. And what it does even more astoundingly to me is that it creates a language, and saying that we're warring on drugs, which you can't do because drugs are inanimate things. They can't war back. It's a pretty one-sided war. And that language of warring on something is a way of absolving ourselves of a certain amount of humanness and of responsibility towards other humans in that war, because that's ultimately who's affected, right? Human beings are being warred on. It's not drugs that we're warring against. So anyway, that I find very, very interesting in itself. But when I look at the war that we're waging on drugs and the fact that we're not waging a war on the food system that's affecting far more of us and far more profoundly than drugs are, and I'm not trying to minimize the effect that drugs and drug addiction have for individuals and families and communities at all, but there's just no way to argue, I think, that food doesn't affect more people, because we all have to consume it to live. And the system of food that we have, especially in North America, to meet our needs is producing food, giving us food that is causing massive health issues. There are things like cancer and heart disease, diabetes, and even just at a very low and basic level, food allergies that affect so many people. These are, quality of life changing things, life threatening issues connected to food, and yet there isn't the same sort of war being waged on the food system that gives us that food. So, I think that's a pretty enormous problem as someone who has to consume food, but I also think about, how that system has many parts that are unhealthy for us in other ways too. The environmental impact that system has is just like devastating in so many ways, and the inequity that comes out of that system as well for people who are not being paid properly, who are working in basically very old school slavery kind of conditions to give us this food that's really harming us. It's just very harmful on so many different levels. And again, we're not really waging much of a war on that. So I don't know, that's a little bit about addiction and food. And the big reason that I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes talking about that is because I think that we distance ourselves so much from addiction and think of addicts as being other, other than ourselves, people that we can't relate to, and yet we're all indulging in some level of addiction when it comes to food and bringing unhealthy food into our lives. So we're all impacted by food systems, so I think that we can all feel strong in getting involved in a system that impacts every single one of us as well. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. Come and check me out in all of the various places that I am. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you again really soon.